Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more F1 Manager 2022. So we are around about the halfway mark now. It's the next race is 11 of 22. We're doing pretty well. We're still third in the Constructors' Championships. Well, I say we recently became third in the Constructors' Championship with our last race, which pushed us above McLaren, which is pretty cool. Ricciardo and Norris there. I wouldn't say sitting pretty in 6th and 7th, but it's certainly on track, I think, for where we want to be. In terms of our car parts, we were sort of verging into the research side of things as opposed to developing parts for our current this year's car. And the reason for that is that we want to. I mean, we're well set up already for hitting our targets, exceeding our targets even, but. If we really push the research for next season, then in hopefully the second season we'll actually be in a position to start pulling ahead of the Red Bulls and Ferraris of the world. Facilities, I haven't really got anything active at the moment. Slightly longer term, I want to do the design centre another upgrade because we'll be able to get another 5 engineers in, so you can split them quite nicely between the 3 projects that you can run at the same time. In terms of the staff stuff, we've got I think the race simulator is the main one, really, because that's the one that our drivers use to get their experience going higher. Team Hub does work for staff. It's not nothing at 3.5 million, so I'm tempted to just sit on the money we've got now. Stuff here probably could all get upgraded over time. In fact, maybe we'll get the tour centre going for $500,000. We'll get another $5,000 per race coming in. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but $5,000 per week, which does build up, but quite slowly. So we'll leave that for now. Still scouting a couple of drivers. I think it's Leclerc and Ocon. And after that, we may look at other people as well. I notice Sainz is open to joining us. He's very good. I tend to want to, hire a driver who's perhaps a little bit younger than that, though. Gasly's good, so we'll probably scout him as well at some point. I know that he's very good. Actually, on drivers, just check. Yeah, we haven't got any development points to spend. Staff, it's similar. So let's just advance to probably straight to the race week. Okay, so let's go and do our race prep. I think that's pretty much the only thing that we've got on our cards at the moment. So qualifying targets. Position of 10th, that's kind of already set. Reaching Q3. If we're reaching 10th, we are reaching that anyway, aren't we? So I think it's probably worth risking that. Finished position of 10th, yeah, I think we can hit that. And then we've got our streaks, so if we can get both drivers in the top 12, we'll finish that streak, and I think that's worth about just over £1 million. That's quite good to do. Of course, offsetting that is if our drivers do kind of hit that kind of target, then we're paying them a fairly fat bonus for it and getting less money anyway. So in a sense, I suppose it's good to offset that with a bit more coming in from the sponsors. So we're at the Red Bull Ring in Austria for this race.
The battle is surely going to rage this weekend. Welcome to the Green Hills of Austria. The Red Bull Ring hosted its first Grand Prix in 2014, and it's been spectacular ever since. The Red Bull Ring is one hungry beast of a power track. Drivers face a steep climb up to turn 3 and a fast ride downhill through wide corners and straights thereafter. There's plenty of opportunity to overtake here, especially with the help of 3 DRS zones. We're about halfway through the season now, and there's still plenty of time for everything to change. All eyes are on the teams and how they tackle the rest of the year. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so it looks like for P1 we're going to have heavy rain. I don't know if that's both sessions or one session, part of a session, who knows. But the qualifying and race are going to be in dry weather, which is good. Let's swap out Ricciardo for Theo. Car parts, yeah, let's switch into our sort of practice set of powertrain elements. We're still on the first DRS, in fact, but gearbox will... 22 is getting a little bit low, so let's go on to gearbox 2. I think we'll leave the setup where it is. Bump up the run plan. Turn down the driving options just to be a bit easier on wear and tear on the car parts that we have. Okay, engine 1's completely gone on Norris's car as a result of a certain M. Schumacher, who shall remain otherwise nameless. ERS as well. So we're gonna be taking a grid penalty at some point for the parts in Norris's car, sadly. Let's get the laps going up a bit. Do that with the driving settings, and we're ready to go.
Radio check.
Yeah, all good.
Very nice.
Let's get Norris going as well. And yeah, so when we come back, we'll see how we did with our first attempt at getting the settings up. So, see you in a bit. Towards the end of our first run now, and they've predicted rains coming in, but we're 4 out of 5, shortly to go 5 out of 5 on the setup confidence rating there. So we'll just switch out to... It said heavy rain, didn't it? So probably wet tyres for the next run. Let's just speed this up slightly to see where we got to on the old percentages. It's generally pretty bad. I mean, the worst I've seen it on this first set is 3%. I think I think it was on my Williams save. Hopefully we'll be a bit closer than that. Although even if you get 3%, it's not so bad because you've just got to change everything as much as can be changed. So I think we actually scored quite highly on the subsequent one. Oh, I said we were nearly there and we're still going. 49%, there we go.
So
Not too bad, I've seen it a lot
on
worse.
tools and what we can look at.
So let's bring Theo in. Alright, we can figure him now. Braking I don't mind because you can sort of adjust it there. One thing I do find is that the sliders tend to move in a fairly complementary way. So, for instance, you see that we've obviously got to go to the right on braking stability. And when oversteer was kind of central, it says good, so I know it's got to move to an extent, but I also know that if I move it this way, it'll act against that braking stability rating. Whereas it's far more likely that I'm going to have to take it this way, which actually, enhances that one as well. So that I find that generally works like that. What else have we got? Well, traction's bad. That's an easy one to change. Again, it's acting sort of in a complementary way there for these two. I might even, because it's good, I might even have to bring that back a couple of notches. I would imagine that cornering is probably on this side of the green arrow, and then straights. We're going to make it good. It could be about there. I think that's too much. So again, we'll probably bring that in a notch. That could count as a bad rating. I think a good would sort of be about here. It doesn't have an average one. It's either great, no, it's either optimal, great, good or bad. So that one seems right for great. Traction may end up coming a bit more this way potentially. I don't think I can really make braking go any more that way, so let's give that a try. Let's do that. Hopefully car 2 will get, there we go, 45%, so not too far off either.
The car is okay.
Here comes the rain. I didn't do the tyres, obviously. I'll remember that before I send them out.
Copy.
Do that now on Norris's car. There we go. So set up. Oversteer. Okay, so clearly we've got to send it left this way, haven't we? Let's do that. Let's go. Braking's coming that way. That could count as good, so I might even try and leave it roughly there. That one might come in a little bit. But that's okay, because we can move that one out again. These two are bad, so we need to nudge these ones in a lot more. That one could count as good. This one's got to come back the other way, but that's okay. We can kind of take it to there. Maybe nudge that out a little bit more. And that one could well be there, so let's leave it there for now. We're on the wet tyres already. Confirm that.
Some rain started now.
So I'll let this go. I'll change the tyres on car 1 to wets, and when we come back we'll see how we do on the second run. We're getting fairly close on both cars now, but there we go.
How's the balance?
Optimal, look at that. On the second attempt we got to 97%. Not bad at all. He's the backup reserve driver, so we may as well call him in. He's already at his maximum experience for this. We've got to 62% on Norris, so clearly we weren't quite as close on that one. Let's call him in. In terms of the rain, when he comes out, it's going to be fine weather from now on. Although that said, he's not going to be going out again in this session. So oversteer, we went too far, so let's bring that back more towards this end perhaps. Braking stability is great, that's good. Well, I mean, it's great. If we move this in, which is also great, we kind of end up there, which looks pretty good. Now the good settings, if we give it that a bump, and if we give that a bump, it's kind of gone a bit too far, but there's a bit of minor adjustment needed here. Maybe this could stand to go a bit further, and then we can bring that in, and that in. It's okay. I feel like that one needs to be further that way, but it's a tricky one. I expect that to be a bit out of whack, but let's leave it there. And when we come back, we'll be heading into P2. Okay, so here we are in practice 2, or about to head into practice 2. We're going to leave Ricciardo's setup as it is at 97%. That's, pretty good. Can't complain. Just bumped his run plan up by a few laps, and I'm going to send him out on maybe hard tyres. Maybe I'll even do a 20-lap run. This is mainly for track acclimatization. We don't need to dial in his settings anymore. Norris, maybe you could do a run on mediums. It's annoying, and I don't know if it's an oversight on my part, or whether our manufacturing just hasn't done it yet, but he's actually on a version 1 chassis, Norris, which is, a bit frustrating. But let's go to practice 2. I mean, I could have changed it if we had a version 2, but the only version 2 chassis we have is on car number 1. And send out the drivers. And when we come back, we'll see how we get on with car number 2 setup. I think we're getting close on car number 2. Just wait a few moments for this to... Oh, he's heading to the garage. Hang on. Oh no, we just got there. Well, 74%. So it's definitely getting there with Norris, but a fair bit of work still to do. That's okay. We've got 3 more runs before qualifying. Optimal on the oversteer. That's brilliant. Straights, we've gone to bad. So what can we do about that? Let's move that right to there. That looks great. That also looks great. The good needs to maybe move across a little bit more to say there. Okay, and the top bar we need to get back to where it was. So good. Braking stability, that does need to move a little bit more. And that needs to... Oh, okay, so if we move this back to more where we need it, it actually does adjust that anyway. Another minor adjustment needed there. And I think that's worth trying. So I guess we could do it on... I guess we could do it on softs. I'll save the hards for P3. I was just thinking, did I adjust Norris's pace settings? I can't remember. But when we come back, we'll see how we get on with this run. Ricciardo's come in. I guess I could send him out on... It might as well be on a different set of tyres. I send him out on mediums. It's only 16% acclimatization. And you know what? I'd be interested in knowing more about this acclimatization, whether it's merely about the bonus that you get out of 15 potential points of bonus from practice, or whether it actually has an impact in their qualifying times. Because I think it was on my Williams save where I noticed that I sent one of my drivers out with fairly low acclimatization, and his qualifying times were a a lot less good than I would have expected. Almost like a second slower. And then the next race, I made sure to get him up to a good level of track acclimatization, and he was actually, I think he may even have took pole in qualifying in that race. So, to my eye, it does make a difference, but I don't know if that's just coincidence or what. But if anyone does know the answer to that, I would be interested to know. Right, well, we'll leave it there, and when we come back, we'll see how Norris has got on this time. Okay, Norris has just fed us back that he's 93% happy with our setup so that's pretty good. We'll just let him... Naughty Norris did come in when he was 4 out of 5, so I've had to send him out again. I'm tempted just to leave him out there now until the end of the session, but when we come back, we'll be heading into P3. Here we are. It's interesting that I did have him on sort of neutral settings for pace, Lando and Norris, and it's interesting that he was actually 5th in times behind the top 4, as I think of them, without really trying. So that's interesting, heading into qualifying quite soon. I'm going to have to get Ricciardo higher on his acclimatization, I think. Norris's setup needs a little more work as well.
We return for the next day of our...
Yep. So, Ricciardo, what should we do with you? I mean, I'm low. I guess we've got another set of mediums we could use. I'm not entirely happy about it because of some races you do need to use 3 sets of tyres, so it's good to have medium, hard medium, or stuff like that. But anywho, let's just send him out. Get used to the track. He's raced down many, many times before, I'm sure. Set up here. It's not too bad, is it? Traction needs a little bit of work, but that can... You just give that a little nudge there. So cornering, we just need to edge back. I'm tempted to take that maybe there. Those are optimal. I mean, they're not right on where they were, but they're pretty close, so let's try that. We'll do a run on softs, and then maybe we'll do one after that on hards. Let's go in.
I'm ready to check.
Yeah, confirm.
Right, so there they go. When we come back, we'll see how Norris's setup is getting on. So with Norris, I've had to keep him out. There we go, 97%,
okay.
Brilliant. So we will keep him there. In terms of his other stats, we've got 93% car parts knowledge. Yeah, we're going to call the car in. We don't want him running out of fuel. I think it was 63% on the tracker thing, so that seems okay. Let's keep Daniel out.
Sounds like someone's gone wide there.
I mean, I do like using the reserve driver in P1. He gets a good amount of experience for that.
Looks like quite a big accident, yeah.
We'll see that when we get a chance to view the replay. But it does mean that Ricciardo doesn't quite reach the same level of tracker acclimatization. Vettel's been written off.
Virtual safety car deployed.
Any others? No, it's just Vettel.
There's been a crash.
Here we go.
Let's have a look. So this was the Aston Martin. Thank goodness nobody else was involved. That was a big crash.
That's a nasty one. That's one of the nastier ones I've seen involving just one car. Okay, so what we're really doing now is keeping Ricciardo out, just getting his acclimatization a bit higher. So we'll leave it there, and when we come back, we'll be heading into qualifying. Okay, so that's the end of P3. Ricciardo actually got up to a bit higher in his performance bonus, probably on the basis of his car parts knowledge, I guess. Yeah, not bad. Must remember to change to our good car parts for the qualifying. I have forgotten to do this on occasion, and it never ends well. Like, why am I in 19th and 20th when I've got one of the fastest cars? And it's because you're running on an engine with only 20% life left. Oh no, that is the one we're using. There. And that's pretty much all I'm going to change, so we'll go into qualifying. We're gonna, as before, we're going to manage it, but we'll let the cars go on basically automatic settings.
Radio check, radio check.
I don't think there's any discernible difference between me changing the settings manually and the AI doing it. It seems to be basically identical. But I think it does make a difference in terms of when you send them out, because I think if there is a lot of traffic around when they're doing their lap, then they're going to put in a slower time, as you might expect. And I don't think the AI necessarily takes that into account when you're just simulating the sessions. So we'll leave it to about 4.5 minutes or so, where it actually says when they're expecting traffic. It's this sort of grey-filled bar, for want of a better word. So it's coming to peak sort of traffic time, apart from the very end. That's when they all go out. So if we sort of time it so that we're sort of coming out around here, then we're kind of doing our lap when it's at the the minimum traffic on the track. So let's just bring the time down a bit, because it's going to be around, well, okay, a bit more. Yeah, I think 4.5 minutes is one of the best times to do it. So let's send out here Ricciardo. Let's send out Norris, because you want to time it so that you're starting your flying lap here, just before they all start pulling out for their out lap. Have we timed it right? They're going to start coming up very soon. There we go, we've done it. So here they go. And we've just finished our flying laps. Ricciardo's in 6th, but Norris here is in 4th so far. I've noticed you can drop down quite substantially based on the AI's second runs. See, we are dropping down places, but nothing too major. 5th and 7th, I think we could be pretty happy with that. We're going to Q2. Gonna keep it all the same. Norris is on mediums though. I'm gonna just plonk him on one of these slightly worn down softs, I think. Let's do that. I don't think there's a huge difference within this game in terms of the different tyre compounds. Less so than you'd expect from real life. It is. I think I mentioned this maybe in the last episode, but it is something they're working on in a future update, which should be out towards the end of September. As I'm filming this, it's the 15th of September now, so possibly in a couple more weeks. I don't know how much of a difference it'll make for my first season, but it's possible that as we go into our second season, that we'll benefit from pretty big updates for some of the gameplay elements. So leave it another few minutes. I assume it's pretty similar in terms of when the traffic is. See, Norris is 2nd at the moment. I'm sure that will change. Right, so send Ricciardo, let's send Norris. Then hopefully they're doing their flying laps on a nice clear track. There we go. Perfect. Okay, Norris still 2nd, Ricciardo still 5th. I didn't actually notice if they'd improved their times at all on that second run. Let's see where we end up when everyone's finished theirs. 3rd and 8th? Don't think Ocon's going to get there. Yeah, 3rd and 8th. Well, that's okay. I think what were we? 4th? No, we were... Oh, they're 5th. 5th and 8th. I think Ricciardo slipped a spot, but Norris is pretty much where he was before. Got a new soft compound for Q3, so that's good. And we'll just send them out ASAP, really.
Radio check.
Okay. Let's keep on the same tyres, I think, actually. I mean, why not? You get less time in Q3, so we'll send them out now. Before they all start bundling out to do their last lap. Just Pretty good, pretty good. Where are we? We're 5th and 7th. It's not too bad. Did anyone lose a place? Unless Alonso... No. Oh. Did Alonso overtake Ricciardo? I guess he did. 5th and 8th. Well, that's pretty much where we've been throughout qualifying, so not too much of a surprise, but pretty good. I mean, we know that we're not as fast as the Ferraris and Red Bulls, so unlikely that we're going to finish any much higher than 5th, you know, unless there's track incidents or something involving one of the other drivers. And it doesn't need to be a crash. Maybe they might spin that pushes them well down the order. So let's look at our race strategy. All dry, as we know. So we did something like mediums into hards. That looks pretty good. We say we're going to race aggressively. It's still lots of life in those tyres. So I don't think there's any reason to change that any further. Fuel, I'd just like to bung in another couple of laps worth. Driving options, we're going to start aggressively. Norris, I might just reverse that. Just so we're not coming in at the same time. More fuel. And it's going to be weird when they do make the updates to, especially to tyre compounds and stuff, because I'm going to have to sort of relearn everything, I guess. Depending on how much of a difference it makes. Because at the moment, you know, because there's
drivers there lined up on
little
the grid
difference
under
between
mostly
softs and
sunny
mediums
skies.
and hards, there's no real reason to
There's
save the
Lando
softs for the
Norris.
race, I
Not as
found.
close to the front as they might have wished for.
Tends to be
but
medium
we
hard
know
or hard
the race
medium
order
or
can change a
medium
lot
hard medium
during
in
those
a couple
first
of
few
cases.
corners. And behind them, it's
Whereas that's probably
the
going
crowd are
to
ready, the cars are ready.
make much
It's
more of a
the
difference
Austrian
moving forward.
Grand Prix.
So there we are.
And it's lights out and away we go.
So we're going to be jumping to Norris's car first. Got George Russell overtaking. So in terms of the championship standings, we were what?
Mercedes
7
moved
points
up
ahead
a
of
place.
Mercedes, so Hamilton's way down in 12th at the moment, but it'd be nice if we could finish with Norris ahead of Russell anyway. If we were to go to overtake, would that make a difference?
Overtake is available. Overtake available.
Okay, we've had a crash.
Yep, understood.
I've overtaken Perez apparently. Oh, I feel as if I'm Lando
Looks like
Norris.
there's been a lockup.
Let's look at
Let's
Leclerc.
take a closer look. Okay, here's the Ferrari. It's a lockup, and that could be costly.
There we go, we shoot past, so yeah,
Was a
depends
bitter
how
blow
far
for
back
the
he
team.
ended up. Let's have a look. So where is Leclerc? He's where is he? Oh, hang on, let me close that. There he is, he's in 20th. And we're ahead of Perez and Russell now, so we're doing pretty well.
Very nice job there.
I mean, Lando Norris is doing pretty well. Oh, that's why it didn't make much difference. I did it on Ricciardo's car. Gonna have to wait till the end of the season, I think, to get Norris into car 1. We'll renew his contract and have him as the car 1 driver. I think that's his sort of natural position. Then we'll think about who's going to be in car 2. I don't think we're going to be able to stretch to a Leclerc, to be honest. And I think it's going to be a bit too soon for Theo to step up to be our main car driver. I'd like to think about someone like Gasly, who I do rate. I think he's very good. Well, here we go. Who are we going past now? Sainz. This is a bit of a surprise.
You're doing what?
We are doing well. I'll keep everything set to max. I mean, our tyres had loads of life in them, didn't they?
And
So
McLaren with
I
a
don't need to turn
great
that down
overtake.
anytime soon, I don't think. And we're right on Verstappen.
Okay, well done.
Is it Verstappen or Verstappen? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going a bit Steve McLaren with the Dutch pronunciation
McLaren
there.
gain a position.
Ricciardo's overtaking
Take a
Perez
look
now. Let's have a look at that.
Daniel Ricciardo involved here. Gaining a position there.
Well, well, well. Doing well.
DRS enable, DRS enable.
Gonna have to turn the car's fuel commands down a
So
little
think
bit to more
about the lift
balanced.
Understood.
There are good drivers in F2 and F3. In particular, there's a young Englishman called Oliver Behrman who I've got on my Season 3 Williams save. He's pretty good by then. I mean, he's still a work in progress as far as F1 goes, but he is really, really
No
good
DRS,
for his age.
No DRS, please.
But I don't think you can offer him a contract till he's 18, so that would be in a couple of seasons' time still.
Good job.
I would like George Russell, but it doesn't look like he has any interest in joining us. In terms of the younger drivers, there's
Caution on the
Ocon,
battery.
Joe,
Okay.
but I don't think Joe is quite good enough for where we want to be. So I'm kind of leaning towards Gasly in a way.
I think
Ocon is
someone's run
good, but
wide.
he's a little bit older and he doesn't have quite the same ceiling as Gasly has in terms of his improvement potential. We're first. How have we managed this? And the Red Bulls have got us for pace on the straights, I think. We can actually move that to push again. We're going to have to turn the tyre pace down a little bit eventually. We might as well do it now. See where that gets us.
Slow down.
Confirm.
Yeah, I feel like Verstappen is going to overtake us easily. Quite tense this. I mean, normally I would fast forward the race probably by now for a while, but this is this is pretty good. Let's go to the director's cab for a little bit. Yeah, Ricciardo's not doing bad either. He's up to 5th. Oh, I think, yeah, Verstappen's going to go past us now, surely. Yeah. And it's a similar thing to what we've seen before. I think on the straights
Oh,
we're
did someone run wide there?
considerably slower than Ferrari and Red Bull. But we're one of the we're probably the best on the grid for cornering. So if you get a track with a lot of turns,
Currently P1.
I think we've got a good chance. We're going to have to turn Norris's fuel pace down a little bit.
And big lift off.
Confirm.
And I can't see any way we're going to finish ahead of Verstappen, honestly, just because we can't keep this pace up forever. However, we're already
You're
nearly
looking
6
good at the
seconds ahead of Sainz in third, so if we could finish second, that'd be really good. And let's speed it up at this point. So Verstappen's overtaken us again, but Norris
It's
is
a race position gained for Mercedes.
there's a bit of leapfrog going on there. We can turn his engine mode up a little bit.
Last lap. was
Ricciardo's
a
got the
lap.
fastest lap. He's up to 3rd. Let's actually
Here's
watch
the
him
replay.
do the overtake.
Daniel Ricciardo involved here.
He's
I
having a
think
good
it's
race
safe
too.
to say that
Danny.
went down.
Danny boy. Fastest lap there. We get a sponsor's bonus if we do have the fastest lap in the race. I expect that'll
Have a lift
twist
off.
and change a little bit before the end of the race though.
Okay.
Ricardo's sort of about 6 seconds back now. If he does get close to Norris, I might have to
Oh,
set a
Ricardo's
driver
clear.
instruction not to battle with him too much.
Was that a lock-up on the track? Red Bull gained a place.
Oh, it's a fascinating duel between these two. The straights and the corners. Oh, there was another
They've gone wide.
flag, was there? We've got Schumacher running wide. I suppose we'd
Let's
have a
take
quick look at
the
that.
replay.
Yeah, it wasn't that dramatic, was it? Where's Leclerc? He's actually caught up to
we've had a
15th, but he's still
car run
quite far back. Oh, safety car's out. Okay, so we won't pit. There's no reason to do that. Where
No
strategy's
DRS. No DRS.
on course, but let's switch everything down to minimum settings just to save on fuel and tyre wear and get our batteries filled up again. And we will speed it up for the safety car period. Oh my goodness. So notice
looks like quite a big
Tsunoda's had a grid penalty of some kind. Let's watch the replay. Speeding off towards this corner, just off camera there. Anyone? Oh, Latifi's out. All right, let's speed this up.
Safety car is in this lap.
Car's coming
Safety
in,
car
so
is
we'll
in this lap.
pause just when it heads into the garage.
Understood.
Right, so now we're gonna whack everything back up to top settings. Yeah. And let's actually start off in the cockpit for this. Although everything has closed up, it would be good if we could put a bit of distance between us and, well, I was going to say Verstappen, but really everybody, just by racing at max settings for a lap or two. Already nearly a second ahead of Verstappen. Got a few turns, might gain a bit more time. Over a second now, look. I mean, I expect when we have to turn stuff back down, he's going to eat into that lead pretty quickly, but certainly in the fuel, we're looking good on the fuel. And he's lost his podium place, but that's not terribly surprising, really.
And DRS is disabled. DRS disabled.
Yeah, confirm.
We are out of DRS.
Long
Understood.
straight here. We'll see how much he makes in how much he closes the gap to us. Actually, it's extending, if anything. All right. Well, the tyres are still looking good, but I am going to turn it down a little bit. We'll speed it up again. And we'll just keep an eye on that fuel level. Let me switch that down again.
DRS is enabled.
Now we see, as soon as you turn those settings down, he's
Red Bull moved up.
right on it. Third now. Right, let's push a bit more.
Ferrari, advance the race position.
Yeah, you got the pit window on car one. I mean, we might as well keep it going as long as possible, but it's going to be a while before we need to go in. What have we got? Another accident, is it? Sector 1? Oh, Ricciardo spun. He's down to 7th now.
We've just had a spin.
Now we'll have a look.
Let's take a closer look. Now just take a look at the McLaren. And there it is. That's where they spin out.
Lost a few places. Ah, Danny. All that good work.
Oh, and Ferrari just gained a place.
Oh, Leclerc's coming back into it. We still don't need to pit.
I think there's
Let's
been a
actually push
lock-up.
even more on Ricciardo's tyres. Oh. Ooh, another big crash. We'll wait and see what that is. Sainz is leading now. Oh, red flag. Oh, that's a bad one. Leclerc's
Right
out.
flag.
Confirm.
Let's see what happened there. So this was the Aston Martin.
What happens? Oh, is he's trying to come back on the track, I think, and wiped out Leclerc.
Carnage.
Wasn't a very good camera angle for it, but I think that's what's happened. So, red flag. I can't remember if this has happened before in this Let's Play series. Vettel's out as well. But basically, it's like a complete race restart. So, what we're going to do... yeah, you restart where you left off. But it's a chance for us to basically do Ricciardo's pit stop now, which is very useful for him. The question is Norris's car. I mean, maybe we put on softs for the next 7 or 8 laps, and then when we're in this pit stop window, we'll still do that, but we should be faster for, you know, the next period until we hit that. It's going to change my strategy, but, you know, you adapt, don't you? Yeah, so when these wear down, we'll pit normally. And here we go. Are we going? Oh, probably need to set my driver settings.
The restart is moments away as the race continues.
Wow, red flag. I've only seen that a couple of times across
And it's lights out,
3 different saves and a bunch of
away we go.
seasons. I'm just going to pause it while we just go a bit harder on the tyres. There we go, let's jump in Norris's car.
We do not require any fuel lift off.
Understood.
So losing Leclerc's big. I know he spun out early on, but he was working his way back up the standings. And because Verstappen and Perez pitted pretty soon before that happened, I mean, they're well down, and they're not going to really gain that advantage back. Here we go, we're just shooting past Sainz, who is on... he's on softs as well. I mean, this could go well for us. We are going to have to pit. I mean,
McLaren with a great overtake.
they're going to have to pit as well. Well, Sainz will. Ricciardo won't. I mean, Ricciardo, he could potentially win this race because me and Sainz... well, Norris and Sainz are going to have to pit. But Ricciardo, he's basically set now for the rest of the race. Very interesting. How are we doing on... no, he's very close to us still. Here he goes, just blowing past us. Is that DRS enabled? Probably.
Seems to have been a lock-up.
And in terms of the
Ferrari
Mercedes, they're not
advance the race position.
they're not even in the points positions at the moment. Nice. See, another cars. See, this is loads of drama in this race already, and we're only, you know, halfway through.
Good job there.
Including a massive crash. It's a shame there wasn't a better camera angle for it, but I think it must have been quite dramatic if it's wiped out both Leclerc and Vettel. I think I might go slightly easier on the tyres now in car 2. Oh, Sainz has us again. It's that DRS, isn't it? Alright, well, let's speed this up for a little while. We've
Okay,
probably
that was
got
a
another...
purple lap. I'll let you know if the situation changes.
What's a purple lap? Oh, I don't know. What is a purple lap?
McLaren gain a position.
See, Ricciardo's there up front now as well. And he might well stay there, but I'll turn his tyres down. I don't want to have to pit him again. Imagine our tyres are worse than anybody else's at the moment. Another yellow flag, is that?
Oh, and Ferrari just gained a place.
Multiple cars crash. That's going to be worth
Sounds
looking
like
at.
a few cars have crashed.
I wonder if the
We can
safety
take a
car will
look
come
now.
out.
Now watch this. Here's the moment involving Albon.
Little shunt in the back.
And that's a big smash. They'll have felt that.
We're third now. In terms of tyres, yeah, I mean, Sainz and Verstappen are not going to get to the end of the race on those softs. So let's just play it smart and sensible with Ricciardo, because he's probably going to be able to get ahead of them just when they pit. Another incident.
Oh, big
Virtual
lock up
safety
there.
car.
Let's
So
take a
look
look
at
at
Joe.
the replay. Now let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one. Oh, and there's the lockup. That's the last thing they'll have wanted.
Okay. So virtual safety
Okay,
car
VSC deployed.
is...
VSC deployed.
Okay, cheers.
I don't know quite how to play this one. It's no overtaking, but I don't think you slow down to quite the same extent. What lap are we on? Let's open our pit options. So we're here. Okay, lap 44 of 71. If we were to take this opportunity to pit and do our tyres, we get 56 laps. So we've got 27 laps to go. So they should be down to about 50%. I think that's all right. I won't be able to thrash them quite as much as we might have been planning to, but I think that might as well pit now, eh?
Confirm and box.
Yeah,
We might as well
confirm.
save
Happy to box
fuel. Tyres a little bit, maybe harvest the battery.
They've lost control and spun.
Oh, Sainz has spun.
Let's
We'll
have a
watch
look.
that.
Okay, here's the Ferrari.
Ooh,
And yes, that's where they spin out.
right in front of us. And he's still in front. Oh, he's
So
got a
think
grid
about
penalty
the
though. So that's interesting.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
And big lift off.
Confirm.
Slow down.
Okay, Norris is well down now, unfortunately. However, because of the virtual safety car, the gaps between the cars is still quite small. Virtual safety car, I think, is stopped, so let's pump everything up. Ending soon, yeah. Okay, so we're down in 13th with
Virtual
Norris.
safety car ending. VSC ending.
Hopefully he can claw his way back into the points.
Head down.
Confirm.
He's got, you know, a third of the race or so in which to do that.
No DRS. No DRS for him.
But we might switch over to Ricciardo, because I think he does have a chance to win this race.
So caution on the battery.
Okay.
DRS enable. Okay.
Okay. Oh my god. You don't need to stop me every single time. I mean, you can change that in settings, to be fair.
A very good lap.
Oh, Norris has had the fastest lap, which is cool. Very nice. Another yellow flag.
It's a race position gained from Mercedes.
They are actually ahead of us now and in the points.
Sounds
Well,
like
ahead of
someone's
Norris.
locked up.
Temporarily, I suspect. Yep, Norris is ahead of the Mercedes now. Still got
And
the fastest
McLaren
lap.
with
How are we
a
looking on
great
fuel? Is
overtake.
great. Tyres, pretty good. This is probably us for the rest of the race now. Let's just pause it for a sec. So they're getting down to 40% on those tyres. The question to me is, are they going to try and keep those going? I don't really have an answer. I would have thought, even if they're
McLaren
not
gained
pitting,
a
they're going to have to
position.
turn it right down to preserving them. I would have thought. And then there's a penalty for signs. Norris is quite far behind some of the others. How can they keep these tyres
Oh,
going? They're on
there's a
29%
spin.
now, so they're going to... Let's watch
Here's
the
the
Zoe. Let's
replay.
watch the Joe
Now
spin.
let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one. They spun the car. What a disaster.
Okay, so I think what we're going to do, we're going to jump into Norris's cockpit now. Sorry, Ricciardo's cockpit. And, oh, here comes Norris, dueling with Gasly. Actually, let's stick with Norris because Ricciardo is well behind those two cars. I think I might even go attack on him because I don't think they're going to pit, but they're in the danger zone on their tyres, so we should be going a lot faster than them now. Similarly with Ocon and Perez, I think. Certainly Perez. Maybe I go attacking on Norris as well.
And you can push.
Yeah, confirm.
I want to see Ricciardo eating into that distance to Sainz.
6 laps remaining. 6 laps.
And he's not, is he? Their tyres are basically bald. He should be going much faster. Well, Norris has
That was a very
got
good
the
lap.
fastest time again. Ocon's overtake. How did Ocon overtake Ricciardo? Ridiculous.
Okay. Alrighty.
Oh, I'd be disappointed not to get a podium place here. Ricciardo. Okay, Ricciardo's back in third. They're really seeing out this race on those tyres. I mean, they're going to be
Come on, mate.
below 20% by the end, unless they're really preserving them. And if they were, we should be catching up. He actually has caught up by a second. We should be catching up Perez as well. I just don't feel like we're doing it as fast as I would expect.
Five laps remaining.
Be interested to see the grid penalty for Sainz. What that equates to. Potential will finish second. Just don't know how they're going so fast on these bald tyres. Oh, is he starting to make inroads, Ricciardo? I think he might be. But then Ocon is just sticking with him like glue, isn't he? I'll switch over to Ricciardo. What does his rear view look like? Come on, Danny. I can't do anything else to make you go any quicker. I just don't get why they haven't come in. I mean, when it drops below 20%, performance drops even more. So I can't believe we haven't caught up more than a second and a half. Norris is catching up to Ocon now. We're 4 seconds behind. What, almost three to go? Sector 1, what's that? Yellow flag.
Sounds like we've had a spin.
Oh, watch
Let's
Hamilton
take
spin.
a closer look. Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one. That looked like...
Yep. So, yeah, he's out of the points again. So, I mean, at this point, wherever we finish, it looks like we'll be gaining some distance over Mercedes.
3 more laps, including this one.
They're all... How the heck is Perez overtaking me on those tyres? 22%. Verstappen's on 20% now. His tyres are going to be basically bald. Come on, Danny Rick.
It's a good stint so far.
Norris still with the fastest lap. With 3 remaining. We are gaining ground. The question is whether it's fast enough. And we've still got bloody Perez here. Get away with you. 21% on those tyres. I can't believe he's able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Red
It was
Bull
me
gained the
trying it.
place.
So... we got him on the straight.
2 more laps.
We're just not catching up to the others as quickly as I would have hoped.
Okay,
Bearing in
well
mind their
done.
tyre deg.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
I can see them now. Lap and a half. Will it be enough? The grid penalty is what interests me. I'm not sure if that's time-based or position-based. I guess we'll see. But we've more than halved our gap now. It's a lot of ground to make up. I really was banking on them pitting. Imagine going down to 17% on their tyres. Last lap now. What can we do? Push, push, push.
Okay, final lap.
Okay, understood.
It's the gap to Alpine I'm not quite understanding. I mean, he did pit once less, I suppose, but we did pit under a safety car as well. Oh, he's catching up. Oh, we're catching up. Is it enough? We're going to run out of track, I think. Run out of road. Or are we? Come on, Danny. Come on, Lando. Percent of their tyres now. 16%. It's not going to happen, is it? They're almost over the line. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got the fastest lap, which is good. Both
Okay,
cars
that's
in
the
the
checkered
points.
flag.
Norris a bit disappointing.
That was a good day. Well done, everyone.
Nice job.
I mean, Ricciardo definitely on the podium.
Fail 84, please, mate.
Possibly
Fail 84.
second. We'll have to see what the penalty for signs is, what that does. But yeah, let's speed up this while we're waiting for everyone to cross the finish line. Let Danny have his moment.
This was some stellar work from Daniel Ricciardo. This podium is a brilliant reward for everyone's hard work over the weekend.
Red Bull doing well with their home race. Oh, the signs did drop down. That's why we're second and Perez is third. Interesting. I wonder where he
And I'm
ended
not
up.
sure there's anyone who enjoys a podium quite like Daniel Ricciardo does.
Well, I'll take a second and wherever Norris finished up, for sure.
Today's competitors gave it their all, but it's going to be those three taking home the big points. A fantastic result for McLaren there.
Indeed, the team has demonstrated technical skill as well as...
Very good. Well, we're happy with the result anyway, as a team. So Ricciardo climbed 6 places. Finished second. Where is Sainz? He actually did push Norris up a place as well. So Norris finished 5th. Ocon, a good race from Ocon. He did only pit once, which no doubt helped him, but so did Ricciardo. In terms of the drivers, Lando Norris does actually climb up above Hamilton with that result. Hamilton finished outside the points. Russell finished... Where did Russell finish? He was 7th, so he must have had a decent race as well. Constructors, so yeah, so they gained 6 points. We gained 29, so we've actually increased the gap to 30 points to Mercedes in 4th. We actually gained ground on Ferrari, I suppose you could say, but they've got more than twice our points, so it's a bit academic, I think. But looking downward, we're definitely kind of holding strong in that third place just at the moment. No development points awarded, but I do sometimes find that when you return to the base screen that they actually do have them sometimes. Yeah, so in terms of the sponsors payouts, so we got the first position, finish position streak, so 1.2 million for that, fastest lap, qualifying position, and we hit all our targets, didn't we? Very good. So we've mitigated slightly the million paid out to each of Norris and Ricciardo. So Ricciardo's bonus is for 8th or higher, and Norris's is 6th or higher. I mean, at this point, I'd expect them to be gaining that every race. So if you think every race we're earning £2 million less than we were expecting to, that's it's significant. Front wing's done. There you go. You see, Norris does have a development point here. So let's go in and see what we want to do with him. Defending obviously needs to be improved. So, I mean, some of his stats are just really high, like control, braking. They're awesome. Don't need to change those, but I will increase his defending a little bit. Theo doesn't have a point. Theo's pointless. Ricardo's pointless. Let's look at our stuff. Yep, nothing there for them. Got a red flag in our inbox. So with the front wing, we have 11 days to our race. So let's just see how long it'll take to build 4 of those. If we rush it, 8 days. Yeah, we'll do that. We need to build the chassis as well, don't we? If we build 3 more of those, it's going to take a while, so what about if we rush that? We'll get 2 of them in time for the next race, so that's 1 on each car and a spare, so that's probably alright. Let's look at development. Current projects, so we've got those 2 manufacturing projects we've just set up. We've got the underfloor research. So we can probably get a couple more research projects going, can we? There is sort of a hierarchy in terms of which parts have a greater effect on performance. The underfloor is the best. Then it's front and rear wing. And things like the chassis, side pods and suspension have a smaller effect on the performance, so perhaps, you know, not as important in terms of developing. So we're going to maybe concentrate on getting a couple of wings researched, a couple of underfloors, and then maybe 1 each of the others if we can by the end of the season. Let's say 1.8 there, because we want to do the rear wing as well. Maybe 24 for each of them on the wind tunnel hours. Bump everything up to the max. So we can see that it's had a minor increase on top speed and acceleration, but in the cornering it's had a reasonably big effect. That'll be good. Now, we've only got the 10 engineers, haven't we? So you can change this later. So for now, why don't we have 3 on the front wing? What are we doing? That's design, research. So we want to do a rear wing, and if we are able to amend this later, we will. We can do 2 engineers. It's taken 73 days. Okay. It's not for this season anyway, so that's fine. In terms of the facilities, so not our factory, our design centre, we need 18 million. We've got 15 in the bank after that. So, regulation changes. Limiting the wind tunnel and CFD testing times of championship leaders. Where are we? I suppose at the moment we're 3rd, so it would have an effect on us. I think I'm going to vote against these changes though, because next season I'm hoping to maybe be the 1st team or the 2nd team. So I'm going to vote against this change. Decent race for us. Yep, congratulate us, exceeding expectations. Very good. Austrian Grand Prix post-race debrief. Defending of Ricciardo could be improved. Yeah, but he's not going to improve much at age 33, I don't think. Our annual Aramco F1 in Schools World Finals is starting, with the aim to spread awareness about careers in science and engineering through the magnetic appeal of Formula One. We would like to invite your staff to attend the finals this year. So we'll receive 100,000 as payment for attending, but our staff experience gain will be paused for a week. I think that's fine. Yeah, not so much about the money as it is helping with the future of the sport. Bit of role playing there. Yeah, okay. So the next race coming up is the French Grand Prix. 12th event. Look at the board screen. So in terms of the recent races, I mean, they're delighted with everything since the Spanish Grand Prix that Lando Norris won. Since then, we've generally had podiums, I think. If we can see on my profile, I think... I go back one step. If I go on my profile, it'll tell me what... Oh, so... Yeah, so we've had raced in 11 Grand Prix. We've had 1 win and 5 podiums, which have all been in the last half dozen or so races, I think. So that's pretty cool. I don't really expect to improve on that further with us sort of pumping our development into next season research as opposed to current season performance, but that's fine. I think if we finish 3rd, that'd be amazing. It's well above what the board were hoping we would do. So yeah, so we're going to leave it there for now. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of F1 Manager 2022. If you did, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. That would be amazing. And in the meantime, I'll see you again in France and see where we can finish in the French Grand Prix. Bye for now.